Right here, we're going to show you that's kits. And I'm going to put this one in here. Still, you don't have to paste without air because you're using single voxels, but I've got it pasted without air right here. That, you can tell if it's going to work if that shape affects your shapes. Once that affects your shapes, now the reactor shapes still belong to you. That shape in the middle does not. So what you're going to do is copy out one side of the reactor because you don't want to select that shape at all. You don't want to touch that shape. You just want your reactor parts. So you're going to copy your reactor parts. Copy the top section. I'm going to copy the bottom section.
You're making a mold, basically, right? You're making a mold that you're going to put a voxel in, and that mold is going to force that voxel to be that shape.
Oh, I forgot one important
Not
thing.
really.
Really?
You need to put your prime voxel. Unless you want to do it with putty, and since I'm not going to show putty right now, I'm going to show you how to do it with. You put your prime voxel down. Now you're going to put your mold around the prime voxel. This all works because of what is called shape precedence. The precedence goes to the last shape that was placed, or the last cube space shape that was placed. So I'm going to line it up and make sure that it is over, that my prime voxel is in the center, right below, because that's just the top part. So I'll drop that top part in. And then the bottom part. And if they, we'll probably figure out a way to do it if they change this, but I don't see how they're going to change this. I understand how they were going to change the other way, but I don't see how they're going to change each person's.
I don't think they would be able to change it because they'd have to change actually the way the voxels interact with one another.
Right, and unless they make it to where you can actually lock one, but I don't think they're going to do that because that would be really, really a huge load on the system to do it that way. So I now have the one in the middle because it was made off of a prime that you owned. It is your shape. Where this one is not, won't be my shape. This one over here will be. And I would show you that on Voxel Vision, but because this is a classroom, I have voxels from so many people, my Voxel Vision has a problem running. Maybe next optimization I'll actually be able to use Voxel Vision in here. But, oh, I was going to show you
Yep, it's the same.
I was going to show you why you want to go into tweak mode with your to put it in. So I'm going to put down another empty reactor. And I'm going to try to put an offset into it. This is an offset voxel that I made. An offset shape, sorry. Trying to get away from calling things voxels because it is not the correct definition for voxel. So I'm going to try to put this off shape in. Now if I just try and eyeball it like this and try to stick it in where my shape is in the middle, as you can see, this bottom part of the reactor is not reacting with it. And why is because that shape is not in the inside the
Not aligned right.
Yes, it's not aligned right. It's not within it's not within cube space. I'm going to Control Z it out and I'll show you. I'm going to put it into tweak mode. Now if you see here in tweak mode, you see my shape, but you see the fact that my arrows, the center of my arrows is there above the shape, because the cube space for that shape is actually out, not a part of it, not connected to the shape. It's actually above it. And so I'm going to now, that's how I had it aligned before, and you see the arrows don't align, but the shape looks like it does. What it looks like isn't always what it is. Because what it is where the arrows come together at. So you're going to need to line it up with the arrows, like that, to get that shape within the full reactor. And that's what it does. That's what it's supposed to look like. And thus you can take any shape that is not a Player Studio shape, and you can put it within a reactor, copy your reactor, copy your reactor out around another prime shape, and you can make your own. Is there any questions? Anything anybody would like to ask, talk about? Now, Neardal was asking earlier. Oh, somebody saying something?
No, go ahead.
Did you learn anything you didn't know, Whoopi? I know you learned things you thought you knew, but I'm going to see if we can play around a little bit with this microvox and see if we can come up with a lattice for Neardal here. I use strings all the time. I don't use offsets unless I need to. I've been working with offsets probably more than most people have, but I'm not. I made the offset board. There's also a board of offset corners, that you know of, because I gave you one that Birchstar made. They're like that, except for they're diagonally offset instead of offset, up, down, left, and right. They're actually offsets in the diagonal, which is really interesting. I haven't started playing with them yet. I used to just start playing with it. You keep playing with it, you'll eventually figure it out. And as I was trying to say, shape precedence. The order in which you put stuff in matters in this game because of shape precedence. And you can make you can do the same thing, put it in a different order, you come up with something totally different. But I was trying to do this pattern here for a lattice. The only one pattern that I liked that I was working on. But if you do it more, it's kind of, you've got to put in the first, shapes, these types of shapes first. And then you put in the center one, because it does come out with a shape precedence issue. It's kind of, you like put the grid in first and then you make the shape. Kind of do a grid pattern like that. See if I can pop it together. Nope, that wasn't the right one. I think I'm going to have to do them individually. I don't think I can do them all at the same time. But that's an interesting look.
So you put it in again. You know how when you always go, once you put one in, you have to go back to the first one and then it pops it back in?
Yeah, but I was trying to do where. Yeah, but that's the reason why I did it in that order, so I wouldn't have to do that.
Yeah, I couldn't get it to work on the scale you're using. I actually had to put them 2 spaces apart, and I got the same pattern, but it's too big. I want them smaller.
Working with the 3D, 2D environment. You wanted something smaller than this, yeah, you're really not going to get something smaller unless you're using the as I said, using the torches.
And then that messes with your FPS. If you do it like in a huge area. If you're doing it just for like a small, something small, it won't be too bad.
There you go. That's how you get that grid pattern.
That's nice.
Yeah, to do smaller, the only other things that you can do are the stretched micro strings, the stretched strings, where you're using something that's more like this thing is right here, except for it's a smaller version. I've got a copy of one Raves made. Here's Rave stretched microstring, and it's what gets the smallest that you can that I've seen.